Welcome back to the show. Well, a familiar name is stepping back into Vancouver politics, and this time it's at City Hall. Dr. Moira Stilwell, a former BC cabinet minister, physician, and longtime Vancouver-Langara MLA, has announced she's running for city council under the Vancouver Liberals banner. Her pitch is straightforward: experience, pragmatism, and a focus on what she calls what's not working: rising costs, strained services, and a sense that people aren't being heard. Well, joining me now in studio is Dr. Moira Stilwell, former BC Liberal cabinet minister, MLA, and now running as a candidate at the Vancouver municipal level. Dr. Stilwell, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming in, and I sort of touched a little bit on what you've said isn't working. But before we get there, you know very well the demands of politics at the local level. Why now? Why did you want to jump in?
You know, city politics are actually, when you consider your everyday activities and lives, is the most important level of government. It has the most impact on your day-to-day life. Since 2022, Ken Sim has increased our taxes 26%. And I feel, and people tell me they feel, that they're paying more and getting less. And they're talking about potholes, garbage cans overflowing at parks, community center hours cut, libraries hours cut, renter's office closed. People feel that they, the bill payers, are an afterthought. So for me, it feels natural that I want to lend my voice and my experience to what I think is needed, and that's a course correction. And there's three critical issues that I want to work in, and they are basically managing the money and good governing, building an innovative prosperity pipeline that creates not just more jobs, but better paying jobs. And thirdly is what I've learned really my whole life as a doctor, and that is health and quality of life. We need to make sure that the city is helping healthy kids, healthy families, and stronger neighborhoods. So that's why I'm running with the Vancouver Liberals and Kareem Alam for mayor.
You talked about just the fiscal management. Ken Sim has launched a program, Zero Means Zero.
Oh, yeah.
People would argue tactically, probably not the best time to do it right before an election campaign, but he's doing it, and many people say he's doing the right thing. And one would argue that you also want fiscal management. You want to be using tax dollars positively. Do you support what he's doing right now?
Well, look, overall, I don't think he put the ball in the net. He got a supermajority in 2022. He came in as Mr. Business, who was going to wrangle the fiscal situation to the ground and increase frontline services. I thought, and I am sure I'm not the only one, that when he got into office, he would do a deep dive, top to bottom, see what and where we were spending money. He didn't. Off the top, he brought in a record-setting 10.5% tax increase, which tapped out at 26% in 4 years, which, by the way, don't forget, Kennedy Stewart, who was booted out of office, had increased at 22. So you're talking about 50% almost in 8 years. So we know that zero doesn't mean zero. User fees are going to go up. There are other taxes that are going to go up. City salaries are going to go up. So what I would say is he hasn't done it, and what needs to be done is a real focus on frontline services. I just talked about the things that people talk about. We need more people on the coalface, fixing potholes, collecting garbage, operating community centers, giving people the services that cities are responsible for and people expect.
Why do you think government, or certainly in Vancouver, they've gotten away from that? Because one would argue, and I would argue, this problem started way before Ken Sim and may be tough to tackle. That may be it. But why do you think government has lost its way? And I ask you that. It's not just a Vancouver issue.
Right.
It's not even a municipal issue. I would argue provincial, even national issue. The Western voter has somehow been more frustrated or lost faith in the ability of government to deliver for its people, whether that be potholes and mowing the lawn or national defense, whatever it may be. Why do you, in regards to Vancouver, though, why do you think we got to this point? How did we get to this point?
Well, I think you can't pretend it's uncomplicated, and often city councillors or MLAs or federal MPs are not really qualified or don't feel they're qualified to be the boss. So the tail starts to wag the dog, right? So we have We have not enough people on the front lines, which needs to be balanced, and we have more managers. And then we have managers managing managers. So it grows and gets bloated till pretty soon the administration is running the city, and that's going to be a problem. Secondly, I also understand not just people on staff. Let me give you an example. Surrey is about the same size as Vancouver. Surrey has about 4,500 employees. The city of Vancouver has more than double of that. So I know they're not the same city, but that is a huge difference.
But Vancouver has a downtown east side. Vancouver is the epicenter of concerts to protests. It is unique in that way. It is going to have more employees, is it not? Or do you think there's still way too much bureaucracy there?
I think it's not the biggest city in the world.
No,
population is $600,000. So I really think that we need to be a lot tougher on who's doing what and how does it contribute to the services that people really want and need. So also, let me give you another example. I don't know the total amount because it's hard to get information out of City Hall, but my understanding is tens of millions, if not more than $100 million, have been spent on independent consultants to produce reports for the managers. You can't have it all. You can't have a bloated office and be hiring people to do outside work. We have to accept, frankly, that a lot of what people want from cities is unglamorous.
And by that you mean garbage pickup, potholes, and more people on the front lines. We are speaking to Dr. Moira Stilwell, former BC Liberal MLA, representative for Vancouver-Langara. She's announced today she's running with the Vancouver Liberals with the civic election in Vancouver and throughout this province that will be in October. More with Dr. Stilwell after the break. Welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us, we are speaking to Dr. Moira Stilwell, a former BC cabinet minister, physician, longtime MLA. She announced today she's running for city council under the Vancouver Liberal banner. One of the other issues we haven't touched on yet, has been your experience at the provincial level. What's your argument that the experience translates to City Hall? As you know, MLAs have a certain role. The elected official at the local level are the closest to residents and taxpayers. What makes you think your experience translates well to the local level?
Well, first of all, you learn about how decisions get made, and you learn about being in a room with a lot of variable opinions and how to figure out how to move towards something practical and pragmatic. From my experience, I actually think that my experience as the Minister of Advanced Education and Labour Market Development and having worked in innovation, I do think that I understand the importance of innovation to build a strong economy. We need not just more jobs, but we need better paying jobs. So we know that salaries in Vancouver are lower than other places where housing is expensive. Young people are giving up, and some of them are leaving. Some of them stay and make sacrifices and aren't having children. We need innovators, people who are coming to the city with skills, knowledge, entrepreneurial drive, who come to connect and build businesses. UBC, that I know from obviously in advanced education, is one of the top research universities in the world. So people at UBC are creating world-class knowledge every day that people come to this city to connect with, to build businesses, to build products and services that sell at higher rates than we're currently selling so that we have good jobs. So that's why we're saying we should incorporate UBC into the city, because it's not part of the city, build transit out there, get the value of the housing along it, but also have land there immediately adjacent for innovation and incubator spaces where people can come, entrepreneurs and skilled people can come and mix with that knowledge. That's how Silicon Valley got built. New York City gave free land to a university that would put a graduate engineering department in because they wanted to get more high-tech business, more high-paying jobs.
Yeah.
So it works to connect those things.
It is absurd that Vancouver's not, UBC's not a part of Vancouver. It is absolutely absurd. And I think you raise a very good point. Recently, we heard of course, the closure of the London Drugs in the downtown
Right.
east side. Now it's
Right.
going to be a training facility for the Vancouver Police Department. And this is not a knock on the VPD.
Right.
But I think philosophically, there's something fundamentally wrong when a private sector employer leaves and we bring in a government agency. That bothers me a lot.
Well, I certainly have questions because we have the Justice Institute of BC.
Yeah.
Which we're paying taxes. There's only one wallet. We're not paying the full hit for the training, but we have the facility to produce first responders and police. Then I saw that the mayor, when he was on another station, we won't name, with his list of what they had funded the VPD for. And sure enough, there's Justice Institute of British Columbia at the bottom, and they weren't fully funded. So I'm not sure. We haven't heard the real rationale. We're not hearing about how the deal's made. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges there. The reason I bring that up, it's not like I said, we can have that debate on the training facility. I just think a private sector a company leaving and then another government agency funded by taxpayers has to move in there when it's the wrong message. We want to have another private sector firm hopefully moving in there. Now, one of the challenges for any administration is, of course, just dealing with the bureaucracy. Public servants work hard, and very well in your time in government as well. But bureaucracies can grow. And many years ago, I was sitting at a bar in India, and there was a lobbyist who saddled up. He wasn't very happy, and he was complaining about some government. And he says to me, he goes, politicians are temporary. The bureaucracy is forever. And I haven't forgotten that, right? and he was just railing on about having to deal with bureaucrats in this state government. But it's a universal issue. And Vancouver itself, the bureaucrats do very good work. Don't get me wrong. But the challenge for any administration to come in is to say, what are the priorities for citizens?
Right.
And actually have to go in sometimes and make some very, very tough decisions within a very short 4-year election cycle, and then the next one comes around. Do you think governments, and it doesn't have to be Vancouver, but I think we almost think too short term that we don't make the tough decisions anymore, where if you have to cut, you make the decision, you tell the citizens why you're doing so, and you do it. And it seems to me that we have forgotten that and gotten away from that, and that's part of the problem in a city like Vancouver, or whether it's at the provincial level or the federal level. We don't have the courage at times to cut and to make the structural changes that need to be made so government is responsible for the next 5 to 10 years to the needs of its citizens. And are you willing to do that is the question, coming into Vancouver especially?
Well, I think I've been lucky to be around leaders who do it. Mm-hmm. I have confidence that Karim Alam understands both politics and how the city runs. We do have a different system from other levels of government in that we have a mayor who gets one vote and an at-large council. So I do think that a strong mayor with a big tent party can get things done. And when I read about cities, there's a lot of evidence that that's true. And love them or hate them, we've had that. Mm-hmm. Gordon Campbell, strong mayor, big tent. Diane Watts, strong mayor, big tent. And now Linda Buchanan in North Vancouver City. I think people really do need to think about the team. And is this person tough-minded enough to say, here's my 3 priorities, mm-hmm. and to stay laser focused on them? Mm-hmm. And that's why I think Kareem will do that. My 3rd priority, I think that we're all in on, and that I talked about healthy kids, healthy families, healthy neighborhoods. We're pushing families and individuals to live in smaller and smaller spaces on smaller and smaller pieces of land. So if your child wants to kick a ball or play drums for 6 hours at night, they're going to need somewhere to do it. We need more, better, bigger, fully served community centers that kids and families and seniors and everybody else can walk or take transit to, where they can get swimming lessons, skate on a rink, play soccer, dance in a dance studio, make a noise in a music studio. I don't understand why we can't do this more and better.
That's one of the things. I'm a suburban guy, and the amenities that you see in the suburbs, and maybe it's because we're newer, and we're spending the dollars these days. You go to Langley Township, you go to Surrey. I live in Delta and Tawasin. I'm getting a new community center just within a 5-minute walk from my home, and then I look at Vancouver. I think the last big community center you had was Hillcrest, I believe, right before the 2010 Olympics. Yeah. And I'm amazed at how old the community centers are, especially on the west side. I know there's a class issue sometimes, but I'm amazed that the place you expect all the good stuff to be, it's not necessarily the case here. Is that so? You're saying to me is this is going to be one of your priorities? Is that you start focusing on the community
need
centers?
More, better community centers. They need to be open longer hours. We have shift workers. We have kids who have got to get out of the house, and it just builds connections. That's what cities are for, connections with friends, family, and your neighbors. That's what builds strong neighborhoods.
Yeah. Are you ready for all that door knocking?
Oh, yeah. Good exercise.
It is good exercise. Buy some comfortable shoes. Well, Dr. Stilwell, thank you so much for dropping by. And I know making the decision to jump in is a very important one, and because you've just opened yourself up for a lot of criticism and just a lot of door knocking, and you got to put your name forward, and those who sacrifice, they have my complete respect and regards to doing so.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. That is Dr. Moira Stilwell, former BC Liberal MLA for Vancouver Langara, also former cabinet minister as well, running for city council under the Vancouver Liberals banner. You're listening to the Jas Johal Show. More after the major news at 5.